Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video I want to cover 13 lessons that I've learned from spending on native ads. As you can see, still going pretty consistent, made 4,644 for the week. Obviously only started native ads in January and I'm having a lot of success. As you can see, yesterday $698, spent about $250 on ads, so really good ROI currently coming through. Still early today, so plenty more time for sales to continue. So what I really want to do is jump straight into the content, and this is essentially 13 lessons that I've had from spending on native ads. First one being start with a maximum of 10 placements or widget IDs, and the reason this is so important is it's so easy to start your campaign, to get excited, to use a spy tool, potentially add in 20, 30, some people may add in 100 placements. And what you'll realize pretty quickly is you may make some sales, but what you'll realize is you're actually not going to build up enough data to be able to make the right decision when you've got too many placements or widgets. And I think the key piece here is actually the widget ID. So the way I do it is I will only target based on widget IDs. One placement may have 4 or 5 different widget IDs, which means that you're going to need to spend on each of the widget IDs to really understand what works, what doesn't. So you should never cut at the placement ID level. Or the placement level, you should be cutting at the widget ID level. And the reason I start with 10 is it's enough to have an understanding that, okay, these are 10 placements that I can actually get spend away, but that will potentially drive conversions. When you start to spend and understand something isn't working, you can cut at the widget ID level, not the placement ID level. Again, just reiterating, bid at the widget ID level, not the placement level. So if you're setting up, the first point is mainly around ensuring that you select only a max of 10 placements, widget IDs. The next one is, as you start to optimize your campaign, make sure you're only bidding at the at the widget ID level and not the placement level. What this means is you're actually going to be optimizing better, you're making better decisions. Once you start to see conversions come through at a widget level, ID level, that's where you start to really reap the profit. What can happen is at an overall level, the placement could be a negative ROI, but within that placement, there could be 4 widget IDs, and 1 or 2 of those widget IDs could absolutely be killing it and doing really well for you. And when you cut the other 2 widget IDs, what will happen is you start to realize the profit and it becomes profitable. So that's why it's important to bid at the widget ID level. The third point here I just put down was you need to get to a whitelist of widget IDs really quickly. And how you do that is you essentially have to spend money. This is a game of where you're building data. So the more data you have, the better your decisions become, and the quicker you get to a whitelist of widget IDs. Very good tip is if you're using Volume DSP, ask your manager in Volume DSP to send you a whitelist of top converting placements. Very quick tip that not many people do or know, but you can just ask your Volume rep for that whitelist, and it'll speed up the process. There's also other ways. For example, you can use spy tools to look at what your competitors are running on, and you can obviously test those widget IDs also. Next point is if you're going to run native ads, you can't run without tracking. So tracking is essential. Don't get into this if you're not tracking. The next point is you need to spend at least 1 time the payout per widget ID. So if you have 10 widget IDs and you're getting paid out 80 quid, you should essentially be spending 800 on that to really understand what's working. So 10 placements, you spend 80 per placement if that's what you're getting paid out, and that's what will allow you to know whether it's going to work or it's worth cutting the widget ID. So if, for example, I spent 100 quid on a placement, didn't have any conversions, and my payout was 80, I would be cutting that widget ID pretty quickly. You can set up rules to do all of this within Volume DSP, so I'd advise you to get that in place so you don't have to do these things manually. And that leads me on nicely to the next point, which is set up automated rules. So there's a lot of things you can do yourself manually, which is good, and you should get used to doing that at first. But as you get a bit more experience and you start to learn what you want to cut out, set up automated rules and just speeds up the process. It means that you're not the downfall if you don't make the change. It comes down to if you set up a rule, that rule will kick in when you need it to, and ultimately it results in better profitability for your campaigns. The next one is just around you should continue to increase your bids on the profitable placements. So for example, when you start out, you may set say a bid of $1, and what you want to do is you want to, when you start to see conversions come in, gradually increase your bids on the widget IDs, not the actual placement ID level. And what that will do is over time you'll start to win more of the auctions. You'll start to get an understanding of what is the right bid for that particular placement, and it'll just allow you to completely optimize the campaign to maximize the number of conversions at the cost that you're willing to pay, and improve your overall ROI. The other thing here that is worth calling out is bidding low isn't necessarily a good thing on your placements, because it means that you may not get to the profitable widget IDs, and certain widget IDs or widgets in the native ad grid can be a lot more profitable than others, and you need to pay more to get into those. You have to remember you're up against other people in native ads who may have already built up this data and are aware of how much they should be bidding at certain widget ID level if they've got profitable campaigns. And that's where you will need to get to, and that's why gradually increasing over time, again with rules, if you want, will just make that campaign a lot more profitable in the long run. Again, increase your bids on profitable placements. Very, very similar to this one, but it's just reiterating the importance of don't just sit when you've got a profitable placement. Make sure you increase your bids. So the next one is around cutting creatives quickly if they've got a low ICTR. So what you need to do is you need to go into the creatives that you have set up for the campaign, and where you see a lot of impressions but very low click-through, that's where you need to start to optimize and cut, but at the same time make sure you're spending enough on each creative and each headline to really make that decision. You shouldn't be cutting without spending money and having enough data, because you could make the wrong decisions. You could cut it too quickly or too soon. So I've put this here where you should ideally start with a budget of around $250 a day. That's where I started out. I think that's enough. That is enough of a budget to really test, and over a week, 2 weeks, you really get a good flavor of what's working. You'll have optimized your campaign, and you'll really start to become profitable over time. Anything less, it's still obviously it's possible to be profitable with, but $250 true volume will allow you to set up the smooth running of your campaigns. If you spend less than $250 a day, it means you have to run on what's called ASAP, and you'll be spending your budget pretty quickly at certain intervals. So again, this is why $250 is optimal, because it means that it will be gradually spent throughout the day as opposed to very quickly. And I think it's what's worked for my campaigns, which is why I'm recommending it. The next one is really important, and it's something that you need to consider when you're running native ads. Obviously, you're going to lose money initially, or typically you'll lose money initially until you get to a profitable widget ID set. And to to obviously to keep you going, keep momentum. What you need a high CPA offer or a recurring billing offer that ultimately makes you a lot in the long run. And the reason is that native ads can be expensive, and you do want offers that have upsells and ultimately give you a really high return, and only one or two sales can actually end up making your day profitable, and that's ultimately what will keep you running and keep you finding those widget IDs that are profitable. So over time you continue to add new widget IDs and you continue to spend, and it allows you to test a lot more. So I would say the sweet spot for me is around anything from $80 plus is a good CPA to allow you to actually test, to run your campaign on native ads and run it profitably. I think that's important, so don't choose something too low. There's a lot of different advice, but this is on this topic. But that's what I've found to work is a high CPA. It just keeps you in the game longer. It'll keep you actually being able to test, and then you get to that widget ID set that's really profitable, and you can double down, and that's where you get the exponential ROIs that come with finding that profitable placement. So I've already covered speaking to your rep and volume is important, and that will help you come up with the placements, the widget IDs you want to test. But also, if you're getting involved in native ads, spy tools are a really good way to understand what's working, or what your competition are testing, the landing pages they're using, the placements they're testing. But what I would also say is sometimes these spy tools can actually go against you because the data is completely different. So, for example, if I look at a spy tool and look at my campaign in the spy tool, it's completely different or doesn't actually represent what my actual campaign is doing. So anyone who comes along and uses that may actually be misguided and make wrong decisions based on the spy tool. Just use it as a direction. And one thing I would say is, don't just take creatives that are headlines that you see from competitors. You should put your own twist and make things unique, because that's where you'll find you have better success. That's what I've personally found. When you start to make the tweaks, they become the winners. It can be good for spy tools. Can be very useful for your starting positioning, but definitely start to actually create your own headlines, create your own images, and try to be unique and stand out, because if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you'll get somewhat similar results, and at times they may not be very good. So what I've found, in particular with this campaign, is that natives can be consistent once you find winners. Obviously, as you continue to add new widget IDs, and there will be an element of inconsistency in there. But what I've found is in my profitable placement campaign that I'm actually being very consistent day on day. I initially start to test on desktop, and once a campaign works for me, I'll roll it out to mobile. What I do find is it has been consistent, and I am consistently driving conversions every day. I'm consistently profitable, which is obviously the most important thing. And that only improves as I continue to spend and continue to get more data. So there are the 13 different tips that I've outlined here. But I think the most important thing that you need to realize is spending money and building your data is ultimately what will lead to the success in natives. I'm still learning as I go. I haven't been doing this that long, but I've also got some profitable campaigns under my belt, and that's why I feel like I can actually share some of this with you. Again, so some of this information may change over time as I test new strategies and start to learn a bit more. But I think this is good advice that I wish I knew when I first started, and I know others will find useful. Hopefully you found this video useful. I will be covering some more topics on native ads. Let me know down in the comments below if there's a certain area or something you'd like me to cover. Make sure you subscribe to the channel I will be coming out with more content on a regular basis, and in particular around native ads as I progress with my own campaigns. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next.